오늘 학교 가나요?
아, 노노노노노. 일단 저 벙커 와서 3분 파밍하고 내가 핑 찍으면 달리 3.
오케이.
에? 뭐야 저거?
뭐?
대박이야. 저걸 레알임?
The story of Alive stands as a gripping tale of survival, fear, and the desperate will to live when everything collapses around you. Set in a world suddenly struck by a terrifying outbreak, it captures the chaos and isolation of a society falling apart in real time. The movie throws us into the life of a young man trapped inside his apartment as the world outside descends into madness. It's not just about monsters or infected people. It's about the haunting silence between screams, the uncertainty of every minute, and the emotional toll of being completely alone. From the very first moment, Alive pulls you into a claustrophobic and tense atmosphere where survival is not about fighting others, but about holding on to your sanity when the world has stopped making sense. The main character's story begins in a normal, everyday routine, a young gamer disconnected from the world, living in his small apartment, unaware that his life is about to change forever. The sudden outbreak takes him by surprise, and what starts as confusion quickly becomes horror as he realizes people are turning into something else violent, mindless, and hungry for flesh. He watches from his window as the streets fill with chaos, sirens blare in the distance, and desperate people run for their lives. His phone stops working, electricity cuts out, and he finds himself completely isolated. The sense of loneliness becomes suffocating. Days turn into nights, and food starts running out. In this desperate struggle, he must decide what it truly means to stay alive when every moment pushes him closer to the edge of despair. The power of Alive comes from its emotional realism. It's not about superheroes or survivors with endless weapons. It's about an ordinary person, someone just like us, facing an unimaginable nightmare. His fear feels real, his panic hits hard, and his moments of silence are filled with deep uncertainty. The movie beautifully captures that feeling of isolation that many people experience in moments of crisis. The walls that once gave him comfort now feel like a prison, and the silence outside becomes a reminder that the world he knew is gone. What makes the story so gripping is how it explores the balance between fear and hope. Even when everything seems lost, the human heart still searches for connection and meaning. As the story unfolds, something unexpected happens. The protagonist discovers he is not entirely alone. Across another apartment building, he spots a girl, someone who, like him, has managed to survive the chaos. This moment completely changes the direction of the story. Their silent communication through gestures and notes becomes a spark of hope in a world filled with darkness. It's through her that he begins to find a reason to fight again, to stay alive, not just for himself, but for someone else. Their bond forms slowly, built on small acts of courage and kindness. Even though they are separated by walls and distance, their connection reminds both of them that humanity still exists amid destruction. The pacing of Alive is intense yet emotional. It keeps you on edge with its realistic depiction of survival, rationing food, conserving water, and battling loneliness. The apartment becomes both a safe space and a psychological trap. Every sound outside, every flicker of light, and every moment of silence keeps the tension high. The film also dives deep into the psychological state of isolation, how fear, hunger, and hopelessness can break a person down. But it also shows how, even in the darkest moments, small acts of courage can change everything. The moments when the characters share their pain and struggles remind us that emotional connection can be more powerful than any weapon. Visually, the film delivers a hauntingly realistic view of urban collapse. The empty streets, broken windows, and blood-stained walls paint a chilling picture of a world that has stopped functioning. The use of natural lighting inside the apartment adds to the realism, dark, grainy, and suffocating. Every frame carries the weight of uncertainty. The camera work focuses on the protagonist's face, allowing the audience to feel every emotion: fear, loneliness, and the faint spark of hope. When the two survivors finally communicate, the tone of the film slightly shifts from despair to determination, showing how human connection can be the most powerful weapon in the face of hopelessness. What makes Alive stand out is its message. It's not just about escaping zombies, it's about rediscovering the will to live. The story becomes a metaphor for the emotional battles people face when trapped in their own fears and insecurities. It reflects the modern reality of isolation, especially in a digital age where human interaction is often limited to screens. The film turns that isolation into a literal nightmare and then uses it to explore what truly matters when everything else is stripped away. Even though it's set in a post-apocalyptic world, its emotions are deeply human and relatable. Everyone can understand the fear of being alone, the need for connection, and the power of hope that pushes us forward even when everything seems lost. The performances are raw and believable. The lead actor perfectly captures the exhaustion of someone who has lost everything but still refuses to give up. His eyes tell the story: fear, hopelessness, and the small sparks of courage that keep him going. The female survivor, on the other hand, brings warmth and resilience. Her quiet strength and resourcefulness balance his despair, creating a chemistry that doesn't need words to feel real. Together, they represent two sides of survival: fear and faith, despair and determination. Their growing bond turns the film into more than just a survival thriller. It becomes an emotional journey about what it means to be human in the face of unimaginable horror. As the story reaches its climax, the intensity builds. The two survivors decide to risk everything to reach each other. The final act is filled with heart-pounding tension as they battle through obstacles and danger in a last attempt to escape. The mix of fear, adrenaline, and emotion in those final moments creates a powerful experience that stays with you long after the movie ends. It's not just the action that makes it memorable, it's the sense of hope that rises from despair. The message is simple yet profound. Even when the world seems dead, life finds a way to move forward. The ending brings a sense of relief and closure while reminding us that survival is not just about breathing, it's about believing that there's still something worth living for. The journey of the characters becomes symbolic of how people find strength and connection, even when surrounded by loss. Alive leaves you thinking about the moments in life when everything feels overwhelming and how the smallest act of hope can change everything. It reminds us that being alive is more than just surviving, it's about feeling, caring, and fighting for meaning. In every way, Alive captures the essence of human endurance. It's not just a story about a zombie apocalypse, it's a story about isolation, fear, and rediscovery. It resonates deeply with anyone who has ever felt trapped, lost, or alone. The film beautifully translates that silent struggle into a visual experience that feels real and personal. Its balance of suspense, emotion, and realism makes it stand out among survival thrillers. It's a reminder that life, no matter how broken the world becomes, always finds a reason to keep going. Alive is the kind of story that makes you reflect on your own strength. It shows that sometimes being alive is not about running from danger, but about facing your fears head-on and finding the courage to hope again. It tells us that even when we're surrounded by darkness, the faintest spark of connection can light the way forward. The movie's power lies in its simplicity, its ability to make the audience feel every heartbeat of tension and every flicker of emotion. It's more than entertainment. It's an experience of survival, humanity, and the quiet strength that exists in all of us.